Yeah, Coach, you've talked about rat poison, so many times with us. For these two particular games where we've had 21 days where basically everyone has said, hey, Ole Miss is going to beat the shit out of Tulane and Oregon's going to beat the shit out of JMU. There is no way that these guys can win. If you're the coach of either one of those teams, how do you address that? Because obviously it's not just another game. It's the playoffs now. And are you assuming that these guys will be able to handle it, Pete Golding and Dan Lanning, pretty fine because they both come from your coaching tree?
Well, I just this morning watched the first Tulane-Ole Miss game. And, the game really was like 23-3 maybe, late in the third quarter. And Tulane got stopped 3 times on 4th down and short. 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and 3, 4th and 5 at the 5-yard line. So the game could have been a little closer than it was. I think the issue for Tulane is offensively, they moved the ball against Ole Miss. But, man, they just could not stop Ole Miss's offense. And I think that's going to be a huge problem for them in this game. My approach to games like this was I used to tell players all the time is, look, you're supposed to be playing to your standard, to your ability. When I was in the NFL, they gave me a cut-up. I didn't know who you were playing, what the score was. So your challenge is to play your best all the time because that's what you're going to get evaluated on. You want to play in the league someday, they're going to look at this film. You're going to play relative to the guy you're playing against, or you're going to play the way you're capable of. And that's the way we try to get guys to think about it so they control what they do and they control the standard that they play to, and that's what I challenge them to do. And when you're in the playoffs like this, you want to gain momentum. And to gain momentum, you got to earn momentum. So you got to play well, make good plays, play together as a group. And that's what I used to try to, emphasize to our guys so that, we would gain some momentum. So you're going to have a tough game the next game, that.
Dan Lanning is definitely selling everything about Indiana having JMU kids and coming in there and winning. And then this show, even Coach Saban, there was a couple times last week where some people on this show were like, you know what, JMU wins games.
I like them.
Maybe they go in there, especially with what happened last year with Oregon in the Rose Bowl and Ohio State. Some people on this show were kind of feeding rat poison towards JMU's side almost, as opposed to Oregon's side in its entirety. We know Lanning will have the boys ready to go, but JMU could obviously do something special. In the history of the college football playoffs or college football, postseason, large spreads have not boded well for the teams that are receiving the points. They haven't won, but they have covered, seemingly.
Okay.
So highest point spreads in college football playoff history. Obviously, 21 is the biggest against James Madison. In 2020, the semifinal, Alabama, you remember this, Coach, 19.5-point favorites against Notre Dame. They won. Pretty good, too. Didn't cover. Won by 17.
Yikes.
Had people pissed off at your ass, Coach Saban. Then obviously Ole Miss Tulane's in there. And then 2018, Alabama, they were favored by 15 against Oklahoma. You remember this one, Coach. They won by 2 scores.
Jeez.
Didn't cover, though. Only won by 11. So had a lot of people pissed off. So I think what the stats are saying, massive spreads in the playoffs. Certainly the winners are going to win, but that's a little bit too much of a projection. Is that because maybe things are a little bit tighter regardless because it's playoffs? Maybe, or what do you think it is? Why sports books maybe overshoot it? And how did you feel as a coach who probably had to hear from some people, even though you win by 17, couldn't win by 24, bub? Like in this entire thing. What are your kind of thoughts on the projections of a game versus maybe the outcome, especially whenever it's playoffs and who knows what it could be like?
Well, there's one thing. I've learned a lot from you, Pat. I got to admit that over the last, year and a half, 2 football seasons. And I learned something today. I never paid attention to the spread. But I would have enhanced my legacy a lot better if I would have tried to cover some of these spreads.
Yes.
Yep.
Because you pissed us off. We got Saban playing? Yeah. All right. They're definitely going to cover. And then wins by 17 instead of 19.5. This fucking asshole. This guy ain't got it. This guy ain't got it anymore. Can't get the boys to rally. Can't even cover out there. But yes, it is something that is interesting. And obviously the expectation.
But,
go ahead.
One thing I hated, though, was when we were heavy favorites in a game, because I think sometimes players think that game is going to be easy, and these games are never easy. I mean, I don't care who you're playing, when you're playing. Anybody's capable of beating anybody. But I do think the bigger spreads come because the big people can dominate the game. When the big people can dominate the game, which is going to be the issue for Tulane, especially their defense, it's going to be the issue for JMU, who relies on running the ball And if they can't run the ball and use the quarterback run game, I don't think they can throw it well enough to generate enough offense. So when you have the big people dominating the game, I think that's when you get the big spreads. That's just my opinion. And I think that in most of these games, other than these two games, you're going to have big people that are pretty well matched, and that's going to make for some great games.
Well, I think it goes back to the point of like there's weight classes in every physical sport. Like there is any physical sport, there's always weight classes because there's advantages to having more meat and everything like that. Whenever you think about a JMU roster versus an Oregon roster, I mean, any big name, but Oregon more specifically with everything that we know about Oregon, it's like you would assume in the trenches there is going to be quite a weight differential that could potentially cause a problem in a sport that involves physicality between the two people. But JMU, low man, good leverage, technique, sport, all that. They got a chance to nose to the ball, being able to sacrifice for a teammate. There's all those things that can come together on any given Saturday, Thursday, Friday night.
But here's my thing about this. Okay. I mean, look, would we allow the winner of the AAA baseball league, the international league, whatever they call it, I don't even know the name of it. Would you let them in the World Series playoffs?
I don't think they do. No, I don't think.
No, they don't. But I'm saying, but that's the equivalent of what we do when JMU gets in to the college football playoff and Notre Dame doesn't. I mean, I don't want to start any shit here, but it is what it is.
Coach, you're adding your name onto a long list of people now because the one Power 5 team getting in and taking one of the 12 spots, everybody was like, good for ball.
Love it.
That's good for ball. We like that. Yeah, give anybody a chance, Now, granted, if the one Power 5 team makes it into the college football playoff as one of the final 12 teams, that entire team is probably getting poached to somewhere else immediately after the season anyways, but we still thought it was good for ball. The fact that two of them made it in this year, I think, has made everybody go, this is not what we signed up for. This is not what it was at all. So we assume change will come. Don't you think it feels like it's getting loud?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we learn each year from this how we can make it better.
The ACC not having a champ that could be in the top 50 ranked is just really threw an entire wrench into it. But we needed it to happen, right? And we need these games to happen this weekend. Because if Tulane goes ahead and smacks Coach Golden in the mouth down there in Oxford, and then JMU travels to Autzen and smacks Lanning in the mouth, this entire conversation's null and void. But boy, if Ole Miss wins by 30 and Oregon wins by 30, it is going to get real loud and maybe change will happen afterwards.
Just so everyone knows, moving forward, you know how we've talked a lot about the Notre Dame. If they're in the top 12, they're automatically in the playoffs moving forward because of the deal they signed. Also, if you're a Power 4 conference and you win your conference, you're in moving forward. Like Duke would have been, if this was next year, Duke would have been in.
And is that with a 16-team bracket or 12?
12, I believe.
Okay, interesting. So I'm fascinated to see how it all goes.
That's going to make it better.
What's that?
They do what, to me, if you're not in the top 15, I don't care what league you play in, you shouldn't be in the playoffs. JMU, whoever it is. If you're not in the top 15, group of 5, it doesn't matter because you're taking somebody out of the playoffs that deserve to be in the playoffs. So you can think about it one way where we're letting somebody from the group of 5 in, but you're also taking somebody that should be in out. And that's not fair. That was my whole point about would we let the AAA baseball team who wins their league play for the World Series? Doesn't happen. It's a different league. These guys ought to have their own playoff. It's all about money. Just give them the money. Well, each school gets $4 million for playing in the first round. Is that right?
I think so, yes.
$4 million and put Notre Dame in. You want to see Notre Dame and Oregon play?
Oh.
Texas Ole Miss?
Hell yeah.
Oh,
hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, we do. Hell yeah, we do. Hey, let's move some more Toyotas and maybe we pay them ourselves, Coach Saban. Let's maybe get the Predators back into the Stanley Cup Finals and maybe we do that. But I think, Coach, I think there's going to be a lot of change this offseason, just like there was last. Remember, it was the 4 highest ranked champions were definitely the ones. Now it's just the top 4 ranked teams are in there. I think they are trying to massage it and fix it. The ACC champion not being in certainly was not expected whenever they made these rules. So who knows how it goes. But once again, we'll find out on the field. We'll find out on the field what happens. But when it goes down, how it's probably going to go down, everybody's going to say, we're done with this.
We told you.
This is not what it is. Now, let's talk about teams that aren't playing this week but have to wait another week. Go ahead, Con Man.
Yeah, Coach, the winner of tomorrow night will play against Indiana in the Rose Bowl, and Curt Cignetti just won his second straight AP Coach of the Year. I assume that's because they got sick of giving you the award, and that's why he's the first one ever to win it back-to-back years. What do you think about Coach Cignetti and the Hoosiers this kind of playoff run? Last year they played in the first round at Notre Dame, and they were booted, but this year feels different. Mendoza wins the Heisman. Cignetti has the boys going. Do you think they have the best shot? I think statistically, the odds would say that they do, or them or Ohio State. So can you speak a little bit on Ryan Day and Coach Cignetti and what their week looks like this week as they just kind of watch from afar and get ready for their New Year's Six day?
Yeah, well, first of all, Indiana, I said this before they played in the Big Ten championship game, they have a better team this year. Mendoza is, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the country, probably the first guy going to get picked in the draft at that position. And they're more physical on defense. I mean, it surprised me in the Ohio State game that they were as physical as they were on defense and able to stop Ohio State the way they did. So this is a really good football team. Now, I think the world of Curt Cignetti. He's done an outstanding job there, not only in how he coaches the team, but how he's brought players to the team, how he's gotten guys to come to Indiana. I mean, that's pretty impressive in and of itself. I think Ryan Day is, I think Ohio State is one of the best jobs in the country in terms of your ability to have success and the quality of the institution, the tradition. And I think Ryan Day has done a fantastic job, in what he's done with that team. And I think these two teams may be, right up there as two of the best with the best chance to win the championship. But, you're going to have to play the games to see, because I think there's probably 7 teams, in my opinion, in this playoff that have good enough players to be able to win the championship. I think there's 7 teams that can do that. So there's 7 teams that could beat any of the other teams, in my opinion. So that's how I see it. I know that, the odds don't really reflect that, but I think A&M could beat anybody. All right, they're the 7th team right there, right? Plus 2,000, they could beat anybody.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of mixed up the numbers there, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 6, 10, 8, just a matchup wise, championship odds here as we go. But A&M, we think can beat anybody, right? We all believe that, just with the team that they have.
I think Texas Tech could beat anybody.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Sure. I think Texas
Georgia could. Oregon could. I think Ole Miss, the way they play offense, could outscore you. But I think that's what makes a good tournament. When you have lots of teams that you feel like have an opportunity to have a chance to win. And I think that's not disrespecting the other teams in there, Alabama or Oklahoma or Miami, but because they could probably beat anybody too on a given day. So that's why we're going to play the games, and that's why it's going to be very exciting.
More teams get a shot to shine. That's a lot more fun and a lot more pride, a lot more fun. Yeah. Starting with 12, counting down to 1. That's how we crown a CFP national.
Yeah, champion. And you're going to earn it, with these teams in there. Whoever wins it, they're going to earn it. And
damn right.
I was never for going to 12 because I didn't want to minimize the importance of bowl games, which has come to fruition. But the excitement that it's created is worth it. And I think it gives a lot more players an opportunity to have a chance to win a championship. So I really like this. Now, I think it's more difficult, just like it was more difficult when there was 4 than when there was 2. And 2 was more difficult when the AP poll decided who was the national champion. Now it's going to be more difficult with 12 people in there, 12 good teams.
Well, we'll start it tomorrow. I can't wait to see you out there in Oklahoma. Go ahead and move some Toyotas today, okay, for the holiday season.
Yeah, I got to change hats here. That's no doubt about that.
What's the quarters?
I got to go from hockey to selling cars to being on your show, going back to selling cars. And I'm not much of a salesman, so
sure.
I'll tell you what, retirement life is pretty good. Sounds like you can sell the shit out of a lot of things. Hey, what's the quarter zip there? Is that a Toyota-thon quarter zip there? Or is that your National Predators?
Oh, that's Nick's kids, man. Nick's kids.
Oh, shout out. I think we're doing a donation to Nick's kids because of the Alabama lady.
That was fantastic. Fantastic. The way that Miss Terry is so happy. I didn't even have to. Today's our anniversary, 54-year anniversary.
Hey!
Yeah. I didn't even have to buy her anything because you took care of the whole thing for me.
Hey, well, I'm happy I could do that for you. You know, that's a lot of fun. We don't know how much longer that's going to last, future years. It's getting very expensive, obviously, week in, week out. Whenever you're paying to be a part of a show, that's certainly something. That is certainly an interesting dynamic. But hey, what you give will come back in spades. I get a chance to be friends and sit alongside you. We appreciate the hell out of you, Coach. Tell Miss Terry we say congratulations.
Well, hey, we appreciate you guys. I enjoy being on the show. Happy holidays to everybody if I don't see you guys. Love you, man.
Hey, they'll see you. They're going to make sure you see you. Yeah, we love you too, Coach. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Saban.
Yeah, Coach.